Hey guys, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. If you get a connect the dot, a mind blown moment, mushroom cloud moment, an epiphany, a new book to read, a new author to explore, please consider supporting my work, and all the links will be at the bottom of the description in the video. Like I promised, because I want to start another one of the Curtis's books. I might undertake two. But because I can. There's another one. What's this title? The Temple of Silence. It is rather short, but pretty interesting. And I wanted to start the Book of Aquaria, or the Message of Aquaria, because the Aquarian age is beckoning us right now. So this is the summary to the truth about evolution in the Bible. It's short, but I wanted to finish it off, and I wanted it separate because there was a lot to take in the last episode about soulmates, twin flames, and stuff of that nature, because a lot of people get confused, and there's a lot of things in the spiritual community that people make claims, and sometimes you are connected to somebody, but it could be your brother, it could be your sister, it could be a part of your soul tribe, but it's the same frequency, but it's not you in the other form. So there was a lot. So I want to read summary. Quote, a stone becomes a plant a beast, a man, a god, end quote. Ancient Kabbalistic axiom. I'm going to make this even better. You might be the stone, and this is very Dolores Cannon, by the way. In her QHHT sessions, the stone realizes it's learned everything it needs to learn. It goes back up, and then it is the vegetable life. So it went from first density to the first level of sub-octave between 1 and 2. And then the plant became the insect. Before, the beast can be a number of things, but a beast can also be an insect. And I believe after a plant, you are insects. This is just my opinion and observation. And then from the insect world, you become an animal. And then from an animal to man. This is why I know that Ethan Cat that just passed away, I was always okay. I'm okay with death because I know what happens afterwards, but I felt better knowing after how traumatic his death was that he's going to become human, and I did the best that I could as a human to help him understand humanness. And the same with my co-host number 1 with kidney failure. When she goes, I know she's becoming human in her next life. So I'm happy that my little familiar got to have 18 years of learning from me. The good, the bad, the ugly as well. But I mean, take what that quote just said, and you can find that in Dolores Cannon's work. It's, yeah, a lot of people have a thing about the Kabbalah. Who cares? Just take it at surface level, but then when you go to her work and you hear people say, well, I was the stars, and I was the sky, and I was the cloud, and I was the rock, and I was the tree, there is something to that. So just not understand that. Quote, no nation can rise higher than its comprehension of God. And quote, the message of Aquaria Curtis. It's a good quote, because it's the truth. We as a nation right now, humanity at whole, are in the reawakening, remembering of what we all are made up of, and that is fractals of God. Many people are coming back to the understandings of the old ways of knowing that everything is conscious, everything's sentient. We're coming back to that comprehension, because the word God could mean so many things to so many people. God could be Satan to somebody, as God could be Buddha, God could be Allah, God could be whatever, right? But it's the infinite creative thinking spirit. It's the all that created us, and we're all coming back to that notion, some of us sooner than others. So yeah, it is obvious to any careful thinker that this planet, our solar system, and the galaxy of the universe, of which our universe is a part, did not just happen into existence. And it should be just as obvious to any mind not already biased and prejudiced by preconceived opinions adopted for the most part because incalculated in youth, and not because they have been individually reasoned out, that back of this stupendous manifested universe there must be a cosmic purpose. The perfected expression of the ideal type, which is the projecting cause back of every manifested form. That consciousness underlies this great cosmic purpose, and that a cosmic mind expressing cosmic consciousness through a definite infinity coordinated plan toward a predetermined end should also be sufficiently obvious once attention has been called to the overwhelming evidence in its favor. That's profound, by the way. Beautiful. A mouthful, but beautiful. The method of working out the plan for the expression of the cosmic purpose is revealed to us in the law of manifestation, which we have tried to outline herein. The process by which the invisible plan for the perfected of each species is worked out is revealed in the law of evolution. The orderly and progressive, although not absolutely continuous, advance for the lowest to the highest, from the simple to the complex. Since the real man, soul, is a spiritual and superphysical being, he does not evolve, but descends more and more perfectly into physical manifestation through a body which does evolve. This descent or fall into matter, I say this all the time, was a predestined part of the divine plan. That is absolutely correct in my eyes. I'm going to put a pause there because it's just amazing. I could be a fractal of one of these Curtis peoples, I swear. Because again, I'm reading all of their books with you. I don't read them beforehand. I'm reading it with you. So when the fall of matter, this is what a lot of people don't understand. There are fallen angels, but we all fell from it all because we individuated as source. We were all with source. All of us were with source. This big infinite light ball of love. And then the experiment happened and we started individuating like the hourglass. You start and then your little grind of sand starts whoop, and it falls. So if you want to go back to biblical standards, they say Lucifer fell, he's a fallen angel. Yeah, fallen into materialism. We fell into materialism. We fell here in a physical form. We did not fall because there was probably a rebellion, but it's not, I don't think, what anybody thinks. I think it's just the war over this dominion of reality. Sorry, that's my printer. And I do believe that, because I know this for my own self, that I think the majority of our lives are predestined because we already wrote the script. So certain events that we wrote in was inserted in certain portions of our life. Now, does it happen at that time? It depends on your timeline, and it depends if you raise it. But time is fluid and things can always change. And I think that's a part of the free will construct. But I do believe that if you're meant to have a specific job, if you're meant to meet a specific person, that will in some portion of your life happen. I know that my adoption was predestined. I know that I chose my parents, both to birth me and to adopt me. I now understand that I was a gatekeeper to a Stargate. I now understand these things, but before I'm like, what the hell? Why was I adopted? I don't want to be with what, I had identity issues my whole life because I did not look like my parents. Nor did I have any of their ideals, nor did I have any of their wantings, whatever they wanted for me. They were amazing parents, don't get me wrong. I love them. But again, I'm like one of the biggest tests for a lot of people because I'm super different. I think so far out of left field that a lot of people are like, I don't understand what you're saying. I don't get it. But I'm really for people who are evolving spiritually and that can grasp certain concepts and look into it for themselves further. I might not be always right. And again, it's all perception. It's metaphysics. My artwork is all based upon that. My professors had no idea what I was talking about. And later on, after I graduated and I used to go back to see student, shows and say hi, one or two of them would come up to me and go, I'm really sorry. I never comprehended it until I read this book. And now I get your work. Oh, thanks. Thanks. But we all have our plan. So in society, you can't continue to blame your circumstances. You chose them. You have to look and walk around and ask, why are you experiencing these things? And if you don't say to yourself, well, this is soul growth, and what am I getting? What am I getting out of this? What am I learning out of this experience? Most people don't do that. Start questioning when you're stuck, and I'm stuck right now in life. I'm really stuck. I just had a major fucking flip around in my life once again. I hit another rock bottom, but this time I had to give a lot of things I wasn't comfortable giving up. I had to give away. I had to move from a place that I was very comfortable and I loved and had friends and I had neighbors and I had amazing things around me to move to somewhere where I didn't really have anybody. I was not familiar. And I'm still like, I haven't really gone out to venture much. And just, there's a lot of uncomfortability where I am at right now. But now what am I trying to learn from this experience? Why did this experience happen to me? Why am I here? And I know a part of my mission. Many of you might know yours as well. I know we all have 1,000,005 missions to do on this planet. Some of us are really inundated right now with a lot of missions. I have a few missions and they happen to be in this area. They just haven't formulated yet into materialized, manifested form. but I'm still at a stalemate. I need a job. I need to start working. I need to start having a paycheck. Now, with my physical limitations, what am I stuck doing? My art degree is like wiping your ass with toilet paper. Yeah, it's sad, but it's the truth. I've really never made much from my artwork. I do it for my self-enjoyment. I actually have commissioned work, but it's not that well paying to keep me afloat. But anywho, I'm just saying, we all write our scripts. We're on God's divine stage and we're playing out roles for each other to. So all the evil people out there doing really heinous things are the ones that actually sparked us to wake up. And without them, they would not understand. They would still be in their narcissistic mind frame. And some of them still are. They're the negative polarity. They only think for themselves. They want for themselves. They're selfish, but they see what the light is and they can choose as free will if they want to join on to the team awesome, team light, or they want to stay with team dark. I don't know, just mumbling here, but I hope some of that made sense, because a lot of people are like, well, we have free will, nothing's predestined. Yeah, you farting, you drinking something was not written in your script. That's your free will. What you eat in your, what you put into your body, you know, that is your free will choice. What your diet is. You didn't write your diet in your plan. You wrote down certain aspects of your life that you need to meet, like people that you're going to meet, things you're going to do to change humanity, books you might read might come across your path that you predestinedly put there because it's going to spark you to do something. But otherwise, like everyday mundane things, going outside and looking at the birds, is not what you wrote into your script. It's a part of your script, but you choose when you do those things. You choose when you meditate, you choose, you know, certain things are you put into your spot, like car accidents or illnesses or death. And all of these things are supposed to trigger within you a change to make it better, to learn something, that's soul growth. Because it just is what we're all been living in cycles for over and over and over and over again, because we had to keep relearning or recycling because we didn't learn the lessons from the last life. And you could have been an axe murderer in one life, and you could have been the victim to that axe murder in another. What did you learn? Keep repeating cycles, and a lot of us were stuck repeating the same thing because there was an infestation of evil. Anywho, my perception. Just take what resonates with you, but it's genius. It was not the result either of a mistake on God's part, it's not, or of sin on man's part, for it began long before the sexes were separated. Bingo! The body through which the spiritual man must necessarily find expression in matter is the highest example of the animal kingdom, hence does evolve according to the laws of that kingdom. While man's body is the highest type of animal and the earliest human forms were crude, gigantic, ape-like, man's body did not descend from the ape. Ashyanadine talks about how the I think it's the Necromaton, Draconians, and the Jehovian Anunnaki crossbred with something to make them Luciferian. I don't know. It's so many lines of things that she talks about, like I get confused. There's my dyslexia for you. But a crossbreed of both, boop, made the hominid that is studied in evolution as we know it today, but that's not us. That's the aliens. That's a big secret. We did not evolve from apes or fish. No, no, no. And the seeding of our they got that right. They did, they got it right. Since man's expression in human form has evolved from animal kingdom into the human, so must his continued evolution ultimately sweep him from the human into the superhuman kingdom. Since nothing can manifest on earth without coming under the divine law of duality, it was inevitable that the incarnating man or soul must manifest his masculine and feminine aspects in separated bodies. Sex in men, therefore, inheres in soul itself and is not a mere animal function, since both masculine and feminine expressions of the soul are one in essence and have the one source common in both. It follows that only the one particular man and the one particular woman can be true spiritual mates or manifestations of one soul, separate in manifestation, but cooperating for perfect expression. Now, this leads to a lot of questions about, hear me out. And because this is so short, I feel like going on tangents, don't mind me. For those of us who are remembering our multidimensional selves, so I was explaining, I don't remember what video, I do apologize, that my consciousness, my soul in this vehicle, I have more of my soul in this vehicle, but I have other fractals of my soul living vicariously right now in other dimensions. And at times I could have a insight, foresight, vision of little snapshots of what they're doing, because it's a part of me in another form. Most of us can or do remember or is remembering, because it's like time doesn't exist and it's all happening at once. So you might be thinking about the other selves that you have running around the universe. Now, what happens when you want to have that perfected oneness? How many other selves of the other person has to find you're in this body, but they have to find the other person and the other person that is your soul? It's a little mind-boggling to think about that. I don't know if that's quantum entangling. I think that's a little bit, how could that work on a soul level, is the quantum entanglement. And eventually, if they are incarnate in this time frame, they're going to find you. Maybe you just meet them up in the etherics or the astral. All I know is it'd be nice to find mine. I need a ground. I need somebody to ground me out. I am fire and air, and I do have earth in my chart, but I have very, very tiny little bit of water. I need somebody to ground me, and I need help physically until I find some more people that are going to be nice to help me out as I help them out, which I always overdo my giving, but I'm not really that on the receiving end. I love them little spirits. That's anyhow. So for those of you who think multidimensionally, that's something that is not an easy concept to grasp, and I can't even fathom how that works out in the divine law. If you're if you are knowing that you are multidimensional, and how that like finding that one work, unless it's quantum entangled, because it's tethering your own soul essence. Okay, something to ponder about. Anywho, marriage means the union on earth of two who are already one in higher worlds and have been one since the beginning of creation. True marriage is therefore the most important and necessary event in soul's expression on earth. A true or spiritual marriage can take place only between true mates. Those marriages has already been made in heaven, which marriage, the human ceremony, merely collaborates and sanctions according to the laws of various countries and communities. The fact that by disregarding the inner intuitive voice of the soul, so many wrong matings have taken place accounts to great extent for so many marriages being failures. The misuse of the creative forces of both mind and body by those who are not mates, and the perversion of these forces by wrong thought, lust, is responsible for all the sin, sickness, and disease to which the flesh is heir. Since the flesh is heir to these results of its own creation, it can be free from such results only as humanity recognizes the sanctity of marriage and the sacredness with which the divine creative force manifesting through men and women should be used. Only so can they redeem the evil by overwhelming and transmuting it with good. Again, for anybody who, again, this is written in a different time period, but I'm going to say this. What I see in the youth is what many of us used to have experiences. We used to go and do things with not our soulmate. You're not ever guaranteed you're going to find it. They might have died. You don't know. Or you are married and that is your soulmate and they passed away at a young age and you're left for many multitude of years, like, right? And someone else walks in your path and it's like, why can't I just be happy? So there's a lot of truth to this, but at the same time, if we don't have these experiences, we don't have soul growth to learn that that's not my soulmate. Okay, cool. But I'm going to choose to have experience so that I can grow, whatever, right? Children today, these teenagers today, they listen to the music. And listen, I used to listen to heavy metal and Cannibal Corpse and Deicide and Pantera. I listen to grind metal, so it's extreme shit. Okay. Am I going and hacking people's faces off and doing butcherings on? No, I'm not. Can't blame the music, but you can. It does have an influence when it comes to lust and drinking and getting the cars and having a lifestyle that's not necessarily ideal. It works for some, but that's self-aggrandizement. So what are we teaching our children? Are we teaching them that you should, you can go out on dates and you can have experiences? It's nice to have those things. It's good to learn from, but you really got to go inside to figure out if this person is you, literally. And that's kind of hard to explain to a child who doesn't like their parents or wants to ignore you because they know it all. I know. You see it all day long. But it's just really something to think about moving forward as we're creating a new earth and thinking of ways how to better the world. As we're going to get back to, again, it doesn't matter, like I said in the last video, if you are of the LGBTQ, you're going to have your opposite mate. So just put that out there because I respect all my friends who are of that community. They're awesome people. Again, there's no flaw in God's design. He wants these experiences. It's androgynous, it's energy, wants this experience to have all types of experiences, and some that make people cringe, but that's what God wants. So God has it manifested through us. So we got to respect it. So we need to transmute regardless all the negative to good. And I think we can all do that. This is a work of education in which women with her superior intuitive powers should be the leader and inspirer, and upon her devolves the greater responsibility. Until women thus takes her true place in society, she is failing to accomplish her mission on earth. For as it was women who led men out of the garden in Eden, so must it be women who must teach him how to re-enter it hand in hand with her. Why we're moving into the Aquarian age, and Aquarian is feminine. Why the feminine power has to come back, because this world is overmasculated. It needs to come back to neutral. Not to say that the feminine energy needs to wipe out the masculine. We're not saying that. We don't want that. We need the kumbaya bonus of neutrality. That's what we need. And that's the truth. We need some men to kind of like chill out and be let out. While we need some men to actually stand up and actually become men. Drop your balls down, sorry. And not to say you can't express your feminine qualities in your personality or your character, but you got to stand up and be a man. As women need to stand up and be a woman. That's for another day. And then again, this is my opinions and my perspectives, but it leads to the reading. Our study of evolution has shown that it is not a mere mechanical process, but is the physical mechanism by which the invisible ideal of each type of life finds expression in forms whichever tend toward the expression of perfection. Finally, as we said in the beginning, if we really understand what evolution means, and if we understand what the Bible really says about the origin of man, we will find that there is no conflict between science and religion, or between evolution and the Bible, only between misconceptions of both sides. And that was the summary. Whoa, whoa. Hang on, hold on to your hats. My buddy JQ, when he was using this as a background, and I was helping him out, he left this like awesome organizers of rubber bands and clips and all these stuff for papers. He left it here. He told me to keep it, but it sometimes gets knocked in because of my chair. Anywho, sorry. There's another chapter. So with a lot of these books, when I do it online, there's like a million white papers, and I was just flipping through. I have a new mouse. I can't stand the Apple mouse. I need to be able to left click, right and left click. Can't quite do that on an Apple mouse. So it started scrolling. There's another chapter. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay. Hang on, hold your hats. the summary's not done because we have God, part 1, the threefold flame, the Father. Okay, hold on to your hats. This is gonna be good. Okay, because I did a lot of rambling. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm so excited. I didn't want this book to end, and now I'm finding more freaking chapters. This is fantastic. So I'm going to read just part 1 today, and I'll do part 2 and 3 the next video. Because, again, I'm reading this with you, and there's a bunch of white pages until I hit this. What? God, part 1, the threefold flame, the Father. Quote, "It is true that God manifests through the graduations of his spiritual creatures, for the Creator is omnipresent in his creation and inseparable from it. Therefore, knowledge of the Creator or true religion and knowledge of his creation or exact science are in their essence one." And quote, Comte de Gablis. Quote, "Above the celestial fire, there is an incorruptible flame, ever sparkling, source of life, fountain of all beings, and principle of all things. The flame produces all, and nothing perishes, save that which it consumes. This fire cannot be contained in any place. It is without form and substance. It girdles the heavens, and from it there proceeds a tiny spark, which makes the whole fire of the sun, moon, and stars. Seek not to know more, for this passes thy comprehension, howsoever wise thou mayest be. Nevertheless, know that the unjust and wicked cannot hide himself from God, nor can craft nor excuse disguise aught from his piercing eyes. All is full of God. God is everywhere." Sibylline Oracle, never heard of it, end quote. "In these days of growing disbelief in all things once held sacred, how often do we hear the cry, quote, 'You must show me before I will believe in any of your religious theories.' And we can now add spiritual, end quote. Science is making such great advances that many are hopelessly divided between believing in the fundamental spiritual truths expounded in the Bible or believing in a wholly materialistic interpretation of the irrefutable facts laid before us by science. Facts and figures, facts and figures. Sorry, I'm like in an awesome state right now. Yet the more science discovers, the less can thinking people accept the orthodox and literal interpretation of the allegories and seeming fables so long revered as sacred writ. Therefore, a virtual and definite explanation that will include the facts of science is needed. Among the most fundamental concepts about which there is confusion of mind, and therefore misunderstanding, is the concept of God. We will therefore try to give the show me people who sincerely in earnest in their desire to know a logical answer, which, because correlated with the proved facts of science, should be satisfying to their minds as well as their hearts. All great scientists agree that back of all manifestation, there must be some mighty intelligence, which is the unknown cause of it all, and which governs the universe by definite, purposeful laws, which work together toward a predetermined end. It is in the interpretation of explanation of this unknown cause and its methods of manifestation that the differences of opinion arise, which cause controversy, and religion arguing from one standpoint and science from quite another. Since God is infinite and our minds are finite, We can only grasp various aspects of God through an understanding of some of his manifestations and creations, and from such understanding speculate further to his essence. Damn truth. The earliest and most universal concept of God is that which connects him with light, fire, life, and sun. And this is the basic concept expounded in the Bible, as well as in many other great religions and philosophies of the world. The Lord thy God is a consuming fire. That was in Deuteronomy. And in him was life, and the life was the light of man. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. St. John. Are only two of many such references. Many scientists of the 19th century said that all such conceptions belong to the childhood of the race and must now be abandoned in the light of scientific advance. That, however, was before the discovery of radioactivity and the mysteries of the radiant energy of the atom. Today, as scientists of the Aquarian Age examine the so-called childish fables of the past and the so-called heathen conceptions of God, they find that the inspired seers of bygone days in all religions were truly illumined with conceptions of the basic facts of manifestation, which the last scientific researches are only now proving correct. Although those inspired conceptions were often expressed in poetical and allegorical language. Let us therefore begin our inquiry with an effort to find out not who, but what God is. For God is not a person or being, but rather a self-existing, all-pervading source of radioactive divine light, love, substance, consciousness, whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. The physical sun through all ages have been recognized as the source of the physical light, warmth, and magnetic life force of our planet, and thus has naturally and universally been connected with the idea of God as fire. The sun, moon, and stars were considered as but manifested sparks of the one divine or celestial fire of the cosmos, whose source was the invisible spiritual sun called the sun behind the sun. St. Paul tells us there is one glory of the sun and another glory of the moon and another glory of the stars, for one star differeth from another star in glory, showing that all are but various manifestations of the one divine radiance, God. The presence of fire or warmth in some degree is absolutely essential to every manifestation of life, for without it, all is cold, lifeless, and dead. And at absolute zero, minus 273 Celsius, scientists tells us all manifestation ceases, the atoms then being entirely at rest. Therefore, life itself is rightly regarded as a form of or manifestation of fire. Since fire is an aspect of divine radiance, all life is a manifestation of God, so that wherever there is life, there is God in manifestation. Quote, if I ascend up into heaven, thou art there. If I make my bed in hell, behold, thou art there. If I take the wings of the morning and dwell in the utmost parts of the sea, even there shall thy hand lead me, and thy right hand shall hold me. End quote. This doctrine should not be confused with pantheism, for while God is immanent in all his creations, since no creation nor all of them combined can express all of God, he is also transcendent. The Sibylline Oracle tells us that, quote, there is in God an immense depth of fire. The heart must not, however, fear to touch this adorable fire, nor to be touched by it. It will be in no wise consumed by this gentle flame whose peaceful warmth causes union, harmony, and duration of the world. Nothing exists save by this fire, which is God himself. This is God. As for us, we are his messengers. We are but a little part of God. A lot of us been saying that. This may be called a heathen idea of God, yet it is more illuminating and comprehensive description of God than the ordinary mind can gather from many of the Hebrew expressions about God found in the Bible. There is very narrow, provisional, and conceited idea abroad in much of Christendom that all who are not Christians and all the countless millions who lived before the Christian era are and were heathen and therefore not in touch with or under the care of God, as if God had never revealed himself or taught, guided, and comforted humanity before the Christian era. Yet the researches of comparative religion show that there never was a time when humanity was not watched over, guided, and inspired by God. The only heathen are those who neglect or refuse to worship their highest conception of God, and we do not have to go to foreign countries to find them. The philosophers hold that the relation of the Creator has been the same in all ages, that all creeds evolved by man are but man's conception of the relation and in no wise alter it, that the truth regarding the fatherhood of God, sonship of his messengers, and the great teachers of humanity and brotherhood of all his creatures is superior to creeds and religions and will unify them when once apprehended. From a study of the flame, we may arrive at a better understanding of the threefold nature of God, or the Trinity, the one God manifesting in three aspects, but not persons. Every flame has three aspects: A, the invisible essence or spirit of the flame; B, the light of the flame; and C, its heat or warmth. We are told that God is spirit and that we must worship him in spirit and in truth. This is the cold flame of divine radiance, which is the unseen fire of all life, and is known only by its effects as it gives life to all things, to each according to the degree of its individual development. This is the father aspect of God and finds its correspondence in the inner invisible essence of the flame, from which both its heat and light proceed. Surrounding this inner invisible core is the bright, vivid light of the flame, which gives its individuality. I couldn't pick this book in a better time, my God. This corresponds to the individualized manifestations of God through his son, the Christos. Here we go, baby. Who is very appropriately called the light of the world. That manifestation, which can be seen of man in the physical world as the sun in the heavens, which gives light and life to all physical forms and purifies and redeems those that are disintegrating. In the spiritual world, he is seen as the Christ, the avatar of both the light of the world and the redeemer of mankind, who is periodically manifested in human form to give spiritual light and life to all mankind. And I say the law of one. The projection of the divine to manifest phenomenally as the Son of God in human form among men is possibly approximately every 2,000 years, when the physical sun comes into conjunction with the spiritual sun, at which time the influence of the spiritual sun, or the sun behind the sun, is most potent upon the earth, then gathering to itself the power of its own source and transmitting it through our sun to this planet. It is said to send the sons of God into the consciousness of earth sphere, that a new world of thought and emotion may be born in the minds of men for the stimulation of humanity's spiritual evolution. Such a manifestation marks the beginning or end of an epoch upon earth by the radiation of the divine consciousness known as the Christ ray or particle. I'm only doing that because That's Ashyanadine right there. Once again, mind blown. Not really, but I keep referencing this. When did they write this? And it's like they're talking about now. Right now. Right now. This is right. This is right now. Though I'm going to say this. I don't necessarily think Yeshua is coming back. I don't think so. And the only reason why is his soul essence, Sananda, his soul name is Sananda, is trying to get Mary unmetatronicked. And that's an Ashyanadine concept, but I'm seeing too many people channeling Sananda, and it's becoming like a very similar kind of deal. So putting everybody else's channelings of Sananda and Yeshua together, it all starts making sense. Holy shit. I'm excited. Sorry, I've been excited. The heat of the flame, which alone makes any manifestation of life possible, corresponds to the warmth of divine love, the immortal love of the divine mother, the bringer forth of all those manifestations which were impregnated in the various forms of life by the Father. This is the Holy Ghost, or the Comforter, of whom Jesus said, "It is the expedient that I go away, for if I go not away, the Comforter will not come unto you." Thus, the threefold flame is an example and illustration of the Trinity, a threefold manifestation of one divine radiance, which man calls God. Quite naturally, man's worship of God has followed three main types. The three persons of the Trinity. In the earliest days, after his introduction to his newly made planet, man naturally worshiped God the Father, the fiery flame, whose mighty power he felt, the terrific force of whose outbreathing he saw. It was dimly realized that there was a law back of all manifestation, the authority of the Father, which must be obeyed, often in fear and trembling. This naturally led to authority of human father as the head of the family, whose word was law. After long ages, this form of worship gave way to the worship of the Divine Mother, as exemplified especially in Egypt under the name Isis, in India under the name Devaki, and in Christian religion as Mary. In their aspects as the bringer forth, both nature and the earth were worshipped as a mother whose products feed and nourish the child of her bosom as a mother's milk does her babe. Among the enlightened, this was not a materialistic worship of nature itself, but the Divine Mother as expressed through nature. During the ages when the worship of the Divine Mother reigned, mankind was guarded largely by inspired priestess or sibyls, whose oracles were considered and often truly were expressions of the guidance of Divine Mother, as the records of the oracles clearly show. For divine inspiration has ever been and ever will continue to be God's chief avenue of expression for the guidance of humanity. But it can be given only through those sincere and devoted souls whose lives and whose unfolded higher faculties are truly attuned to the varying degrees of God consciousness, and enable them to reach up into the higher realms of God consciousness and bring down to humanity higher conceptions of eternal principles for its guidance. Another mic drop moment. The worship of the Father and the Mother is solely superseded by the worship of the Son, who gradually takes precedence over all other forms in the Western world as the worship of Jesus, in Egypt of Horus, in India of Krishna, Buddha, all of whom are called the light of the world and the Redeemer of mankind. The worship of these three aspects of the Trinity greatly overlaps each other and hence may be found simultaneously not only in humanity in general, but in the same nation and even in every same religion. Truth. The change from the worship of one aspect to that of another is the prophesied by the oracle of Delphi shortly before it ceased. Alas, tripods, weep and make funeral oration for your Apollo. He is mortal. He expires because the light of the celestial flame, the Christos, extinguishes him. And Eusebius cites, I can never get these Greek words right, guys, I'm sorry. Porphyry as saying that since Jesus began to be worshipped, no man has received any public help or benefit from the gods. That is true through this syllabus as formerly. This is not only natural, for with the manifestation of the Christos, the son of the Father Mother, the light of the flame of the spiritual sun, a new era had dawned when humanity had to recognize and learn to worship the same one God in the person of his son. The whole universe is therefore the product of three mighty streams of force that are passing through all things like a lifeline that is sent out into all the realms and all the worlds and all the systems, being with it life and love and understanding. The Father is the great reservoir of life from which all things emanate, and yet which is absolutely void of productiveness and creation unless joined to the Mother. The Mother is the great mighty stream of love, immortal, divine love. That love which goes out and out and out and carries with it the life stream, which some call the great magnetic stream, vivifying it, electrifying it, making it productive. From this stream there comes forth that which we call the sun force, the result, the product, or the thing that is brought forth by the Father Mother. This life and love, thus, Father Mother never asked to help them bring forth. They bring forth in as just as they bring forth in nature. We should think of these two forces uniting in us and realize that then within us is born the Son of God. We do not have to struggle and pray and ask. In fact, our struggling but delays in manifestation. Our mental anguish, our arguing with ourselves, our self-analysis, our complaints, all are but boulders in the stream, damming it up and holding it back. Let it flow. Get the attitude in mind that the Father Mother knows what we need. We need the birth within us of the immortal Son, the Son of God in humanity. Try to think of ourselves as children of the Father Mother force. Try to realize that it is the force that has brought forth the universe, that it is this force that is ever perfecting all creation, the mighty love of the Mother, the everlasting power of the Father. Let us say to ourselves, this universal everlasting power is in me. It fills me, fills every atom of my body. There is no particle of sand or earth or deep place in the universe where this stream of life and love does not penetrate. Therefore, there is no spot in my body, my brain, my hands, my heart that is not penetrated and filled with this force. Life and love fill me. Then why should I be afraid? If life and love are universal, they could not be universal unless they were within me. That would be imperfection. Do you ever stop to think that which we call God, the universal Father Mother, would be imperfect without us? If we refuse to let them fill us, if we let our little personal ideas, our little worries, our little arguments of things in our own minds, if we let all the dam up the stream, we are depriving the great loving Mother and the everlasting Father of that which is their own. Therefore, since we are filled with this force, and since this force is and must be universal, eternal, and omnipotent, then let us take away the barriers and open the little door in our hearts. This understanding can never come through the head or the brain. It must be something in our hearts that opens and responds. We are told that God is a consuming fire, yet also that God is love. And we are apt to think of God of love as the ruler of heaven and God, the consuming fire, as the ruler of hell, until in the minds of many, there seem to be two gods, one supreme being and the other his opponent, the devil, to whom more worship in the way, oh my God, propitiity. Okay, I can't project this word out. I'm sorry, guys, my teeth will fly. Is given then to God. The explanation of this paradox is simple. If we remember that God is love, is the feminine, constructive, nourishing, and integrating aspect of God, while God as an all-consuming fire is the aspect which bringing redemption and disintegration. Cosmically, the forces of the planets manifest cyclically in threefold manner. For instance, the cycle of this planet began with the projection of Re, the father aspect of the divine flame, which was so universally worshipped by the ancients. Not only was the earth awakened in activity by this ray of divine fire, but the invisible ray guided and molded the seething mass of fire mist from which the physical planet was condensed, and prepared it for the other aspects of the flame, the various forms and manifestations of life, which were later to be brought forth upon it. These various stages of preparation consumed vast eons of what man calls time, yet are clearly summarized in a few cryptic verses in Genesis. The cleansing process of the divine flame in each age has first to prepare the earth and all humanity for the new day, during the dark night, which precedes the coming dawn. For only when conditions for its unobstructed manifestation are prepared can the adorable beauty of light and the world begin to manifest and be perceived of mankind. I have to take a drink pause. Hang on, guys. Back. I needed to stretch my back. The cleansing process of the divine flame in each age has first to prepare the earth and all humanity for the new day, during the dark night, which precedes the coming dawn. For only when conditions for its unobstructed manifestation prepared can be adorable. I wanted to read that again because we're here now. The new day is I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to put a pause here. I'm reading that over because we're at that precipice. We're just about, but we're not there yet. And this is the frustration and the things that we're seeing in the world today. The old system crumbling before our eyes. The old paradigm is slowly going over there. Like we have two, I want to say it was Pamela Erlin and also Ann Tucker, who both of them channel differently, but also very beautifully described how we have our old soul self and we have our new soul self. And we have to let go of this part of us that is a part of the old paradigm, because this part of us is waiting for us to meet it. And right now, we need to transcend a whole lot of stuff and concepts and things, because again, if you want to consider everything is God and is a part of God, and so is the negative polarity, well, it's a test. And the things that are being tested and given to us right now are just tests, and they're really negative things coming at us and really disrupting, to make sure that this part of us moving forward knows not to come back. We're leaving this old world back here, and we're trying to make a new day. But if you're not putting your faith and glory into the Mother, Father, and now Son, the Christos, you're not giving your faith. I handed my faith to God, Source, the All, when I was a little kid, because I used to see demons. I used to see thought forms, aliens, things that no one else could see. I was seeing them, and I thought I was fucking batshit crazy. But no, it's just an ability God gave me. I gave my life to God. and I faltered and I went off in so many directions, but I always tried to redeem myself in some form or another throughout my entire life. Always was a good person, always will be a good person. I took care of my mother for 13 years. I did things I never thought I would do for my parents. I had to bury both my parents. I had to do things at an early age that most people don't experience until they're settled into life. I'm not even settled in life. Everybody's talking about retirement. I have no retirement. I know I look young. I'm 40. I'm in the midway point of my life. I still can do all this stuff, but I have to leave those old indoctrinating concepts back here, and I have to start looking forward and have faith that things are going to fall into my lap and things are going to happen for me because it's divinely inspired, because I manifested it for myself, because I used the laws to manifest a better world for all of us, not just myself. We're here, we're on the precipice, but we got to let this old part of us die in order to rebirth. And that tower moment, if everybody goes back to tarot, if we have this tower moment, we need the death card to come out so we can have our rebirth. We're ending the old, we're birthing into the new, and we need to transform what worked in the old world and create it differently, thinking outside of the box and growing these concepts for the better. Not just taking one system and boxing it into this beautiful thing that is the same concept. Because it's a natural product doesn't make the marketing any less from the MSN. You want to create a 5D economy? Wonderful. Now think creatively and let's take that old paradigm and leave it over there. And I'm not discriminating against anybody, any company, any product, anything. We need to start fresh. We need to come to the midway point. We need to walk the path of God, the path that Yeshua was trying to tell everybody. We need to go in that path. And how do we do that? We're all still trying to figure it out. And the problem is, we all have it within us. So the answers are going to be different for everybody. And that's what makes this creation beautiful, because you get to be an individual. But you are a part of everybody. So we have to think of everybody. And that's what's lacking right now, is that a lot of people are greedily not helping others when they said they would. They're not taking what they are profiting and doing things with it to make humanity a better place. They're pocketing it and they're going on excursions. And I never had a vacation, folks. I never been and did that many nice things for myself. Everything was out of survival. So the little that I do have, I try to spread my joy and I try to spread my knowledge and I try to do good by other people. I don't hoard what I have. I help with what I have. And there is a small percentage of people that do that, and everybody else is all for themselves. You have to take care of yourself you have to have your glass full in order to divide it. But at the end of the day, it's all being seen. So you have to answer when you transcend. Do the godly, righteous thing. And you're going to falter along the way. You're going to go off your path. You're going to make mistakes. And that's a part of your soul growth and lessons. That's okay. No one's saying not to. But just keep at the end of the day, you got to leave this old world behind. And that's where we're at a stalemate in humanity right now, because a lot of people are still grasping on to these things and concepts that might not manifest the way you think. Things manifest, great, but they're not, you can't have an expectation what it's going to look like. I wanted to move. Did I know I was moving to Indiana? No, I really didn't. I had 5 other states planned, mapped out. Did I know I was moved? No, really didn't, because I had other places mapped out, and then the housing market went up and I got screwed out of all the places I really, really wanted. So I ended up where I divinely needed to be. But I didn't have a preordained thing in my head. I'm going to have this type of house and this type of this and this type of that. I manifested a move as best as I can get it. Right? So we don't know what manifesting new things into a new world is going to look like. Don't have expectations. Just live your life. Back to the book. How many of us are now ready for the recognition of the new manifestation so soon to come? And if we are not, how can we prepare ourselves for it? Among other things, we can repeat the prayer for light each day upon awakening and meditate upon it until we fill ourselves with the light that it shall radiate from us throughout the day. At noon, we may repeat the prayer to the Divine Mother, and in the evening, as we see the sun just touching the horizon in the west, we can repeat the evening prayer, try to carry the consciousness of it with us into the higher realms during sleep. As we thus repeatedly, persistently correlate our consciousness with the 3 aspects or persons of the Godhead, or the 3 aspects of divine flame, we will gradually prepare ourselves to become Knights of the Holy Grail, that we may understandingly and wisely help to radiate or shed abroad the mystic blood, the life force of the Christ, for the redemption of mankind and earth. And I'm going to read, lastly, enough of Allison's rantings for the night, the prayer for light, the prayer to the Divine Mother, and evening prayer. Prayer of light. O Christ, light thou within my heart, the flame of divine love and wisdom, that I may dwell forever in the radiance of thy countenance and rest in the light of thy smile. Prayer to the Divine Mother. Divine Mother, illume me with the divine wisdom, vivify me with the divine life, and purify me with divine love, that in all I think and say and do, I may be more and more thy child. Evening prayer. As the physical sun disappears from our sight, may the spiritual sun arise in our hearts, illume our minds, and shed its radiant blessings upon all we contact. And that, my friends, is not the end of this book. There's 2 more sections, and I'm so excited, and that's going to be next time's reading, because I'm so glad I found this. So excited. Animated Allison's in rare form. Rare form. But in some part of me, I feel that I'm very connected to these people, because a lot, again, I'm reading this book with you. I say, and I have said a lot of this stuff throughout the body of my work, but I've always been saying this my entire life. And it feels really good to read something that correlates with my thinking. And I know a lot of you feel very similar when you read something and it's like, well, I had the same thought. Right? It feels really good. It feels vindicating. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy, or I'm not in the wrong direction of this thinking. And a lot of us get steered in these directions, and they're beautiful. So I'm really excited I found this. I'm really happy. They explain the stuff that I usually talk about in my own way, but it's the same thing. So excited. So guys, next time I will finally finish this book. I totally thought it was over at the summary. So it's sorry for all the ranting, but I was not realizing there was 3 more sections to this book. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I love this section. I hope you guys did too. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And if you get anything from my work and you want to support, love donation, whatever have you, all that information is in the link below. And again, if you can't monetarily afford to do that, sharing, like, subscribe, that all helps me out. And again, it doesn't matter what platform. I'm also on BitChute and Rumble. My main platform is YouTube. So always join me on here. The other 2 are just backups, just in case shit hits the fan. I could care less. As long as these beautiful words are getting spread out into the universe, that's all that matters. So guys, please have a great start to your week. If you're up, depending where you are in the world, please be safe, be seen. Those are not bad prayers, and you can add on to them. Do your own prayer. Again, I said in the other, one of my other videos, please shield your energy. Be a disco ball, reflect the light, because that's reflecting the evil that's going around right now. Put up a shield, 12D shielding. Do these things because they really do help you unconsciously start embodying your light. And we need more people to do that and be the beacons. There's a few of us whose beacons have been going for a long time. I need a little break. I need to dim myself just a little bit. I'm too bright. And it's a little scary. So guys, please be good. Enjoy your week. Whatever you're doing, please be safe. And I will definitely, the next video I do after this, I will finish this book. Until the next time, guys, have a great night.